Big questions this morning over the futures of some of President Obama's most controversial appointees. Here's, for example, what happened yesterday. After yesterday's unanimous Supreme Court decision claiming the president lacked the authority to make those recess appointments because they weren't in recess. The Senate was still in session. Fox News judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano says this is bigger than those three people that the president illegally appointed. It could reopen hundreds of cases they already decided. NLRB, the president wants these people in. He knows it's going to be a heck of a time doing it. So he waits for a weekend and puts them in place.
This is really worse than it appears. First of all, the president declared that the Senate was in recess. It was a Friday night and a Saturday when they weren't working.
Right.
Under the Constitution, recess means the Senate stops operating as an entity, not for the Christmas break, not for Easter, not for a weekend, but because one Senate ends and another Senate begins as a result of an election. And the Constitution says if a vacancy happens, H-A-P-P-E-N-S, during such a recess, the president may fill it on his own. This president waited until the senators went home one night and then suddenly announced, these are my appointees, I'm not even going to let you vote on them.
From here on in, the Senate will the Congress will decide when they're in session or not in session, we hope. Correct?
We know that from the 9-0 decision yesterday.
All right. Now, what is the impact of the decisions those people illegally appointed? What about all those decisions? 1,800 plus.
Okay, the NLRB is the National Labor Relations Board. It consists of 5 lawyers. They're not judges, they're not legislators, they're not in the executive branch. They resolve disputes between labor union and management. Because the president appoints them, and the president is Barack Obama, these 5 lawyers are 5 ex-labor union lawyers. In that time period, where 3 of them were illegally appointed, they made 1,800 decisions. Theoretically, I say theoretically, and I'll explain in a moment, none of those decisions is valid. But they will only be invalidated if each one of them is challenged. Those 3 have since been replaced by people who were appointed by the president and were confirmed by the Senate. Would they rule the same way? Would they resolve these disputes the same way? We don't know, but the answer is probably yes.
But are they going to get all these decisions in front of them and have to stamp them yes or no?
Yes, at a cost of millions of dollars to the taxpayers.
Wow.
Because the president decided that the Senate was in recess when it was really just a Friday night.
And real quick, the speaker is going to be suing the president on his executive orders. Does this help or hurt at all, or is it just...
It reminds the American people that the president of the United States is really overstepping his bounds, not being consistent with the Constitution. This is a 9-0 rebuke of the president, including by 2 justices he appointed, one of whom worked for him. In terms of the executive order case, I don't know where it's going to go. They haven't filed it yet. But it will cause the president, through his lawyers, to justify behavior that on its face is unconstitutional.
And it's all coming from John Podesta. That's why he entered this administration. He said to do these executive orders in a way in which he thinks the president will get something done. And the president's in a race to avoid Congress.
And Congress sits like a potted plant, Brian.
Nothing.
And
Not the Democrats should be outraged and the Republicans should be outraged.
Correct.
They got hired to do something, elected to make an impact, and they're being ignored.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
All right. Have a great weekend, Judge. Meanwhile.